Yes, everyone, welcome back to XG Files. Stephen Howson, Ronaldo. I put a hat on.
Do you know what? I came down with the hat in my hand by accident, and I thought, you know what? Let me just slap it on. Because it's a Christmas present.
Is this why he was asking me about the boots yesterday?
Yeah, because I got the same brand. Like I saw you under the boots, and I've only seen it as a hat, but I've never seen it as a. I've seen it as hats and beanies, but I've never seen it with a shoebox. So that's why I asked you about it.
I've also got a climbing harness, which is Arc'teryx. It's an outdoor brand.
You know what? Do you know? It's the same thing that happens with a lot of. It's almost like a skiing outdoorsy brand, isn't it? But people have almost kind of started to commercialise it because they've got pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a bit
gear,
spendy, isn't it?
Bit spendy. The beanies are pretty nice and a bit eccentric. So you walk around Northern Court and you've seen everyone wearing them now. So it's like that's literally why I got one. The story is it was a paddock game, and it was raining, and Olsey had the beanie and he put it down. It's the exact same one, and I've picked it up to just put on my head because I didn't want to get my hair wet. Walked outside. Everyone's like, that beanie looks cool on you. So since then I was sold.
But yeah, it's an outdoor brand.
Yeah, it is.
They actually have I don't know if it's secretive in terms of like you can't buy it. I don't know if you can buy it. You can buy it on like eBay and places like that. You can't. I don't know if you can buy it direct, but they have something called Arc'teryx Leaf, which is a multicam version of some of the stuff that they do, which is like for military sale only. But there's people selling shit like that on it. But like a set of trousers will cost £800 fucking for a set of combat trousers.
From Arc'teryx?
Yeah, the Arc'teryx Leaf ones. Mental.
The things sell out. They sell out so much. I think most of the gear when I went online was sold out. I had to work a little.
Yeah. Well, I bought some climbing boots. They had to be. I think they are B2 climbing boots, which means that they'll take a crampon. Do the spiky little slip-on things, like a flip-flop over the top of it. So I had to get ones that will take a crampon, and I saw them, and they're quite nice. So I got myself a set of them. I've only worn them once so far. Because
when I saw it, I was like, so tickled for you to have gear like that, but not like in the fancy, fashiony way, but just actual some big ass boots that you're walking about in for IRL.
Yep. So coming soon to IRL, you'll see all of that sort of shit coming very soon. Anyway, how's everyone doing?
I was about to take it off then. What is even the design on that?
It's like a frog skeleton.
Frog skeleton.
Yep. Right, what's everyone saying in the comments? Daniel Ridd says, hey Stephen and Ronnie, I think the whole loan nonsense with Sancho is because the owners want to see who the manager is next year and whether he can come back in the team. Do you really? Is that what you actually really believe? Do you honestly think that they're going to sack Ten Hag?
Do you think this Sancho loan has a little bit of a similarity to the Martial one to Sevilla from last season?
Could it go as bad?
I don't think so. Maybe because Sancho's going back to a league that probably suited him more, a club that he's familiar with. He probably might have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I don't know, but I think him and Martial are almost from the same type of makeup though. I don't know if they've both got that kind of internal drive to prove people wrong. So I'm not quite sure.
Martial didn't exactly prove anyone wrong, did he, with that loan to Sevilla?
Exactly, I'm not quite sure. But people have said that could Sancho be a midfielder instead? Can you make him a number 10 or whatever? But I think it's easy to say that in possession because he does operate better in between the lines. He's got good technicality, he's got quick feet or whatever. But out of possession, does he have the know-how to play there? Has he got the work rate to play there? Because people think that number 10 is quite a luxurious position in a way, in possession, because you've got the ability to roam everywhere. But it's actually quite physically demanding out of possession as well. It's not something.
It does depend on the individual. Some people play it quite energetically. Some people toss it off a little bit. I'm not mentioning any names.
Because I'm thinking of like Bernardo Silva engines.
Yeah. I mean, I think you look at that City team. I don't think there's any passengers in it.
They can't be. Not with Pep anyway. I saw an interview of Pep post game when he lost his head. I think there's a refereeing decision that didn't go his way. I'm not sure if it was an FA Cup match. It was in his first season, and he got absolutely rattled in that. I don't know if you've seen it. I was going to send you it, and it's the one where he's like, they ask him if he's happy, and he's like, more than you ever believe. And everyone's in the comments, probably you as well, stating that he's not going to hack England. It's not going to be a success.
Me, would I have said something like that? Yeah, I might have said something like that.
Nah, but
Still time for him not to hack it. I mean, what's he done in England so far? Fuck all, right?
He's done fuck all legally.
There's the caveat we're looking for.
Allegedly.
There's the asterisk I was looking for.
Can't be getting sued for libel. So.
Not obviously. Not at airlines. I think they've got a bigger fish to fry, to be fair.
Nah, exactly. But and then you've got Arsenal that are trying to give him the 4-peat. They're all shit, aren't they?
By the way,
this is why
Arsenal.
Yeah.
Arsenal.
Right.
Went into Christmas Day top of the league and have thrown the towel in before people took the fucking decorations down. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's true.
Christmas Day, top of the pops. Decorations are still up and the towel is on the floor.
It is actually true. And also, the thing is with them, apart from their fans being absolute muppets, and I hate them, yeah, it's the way that they've signed Declan Rice, who the media has kind of detailed him as being the sign of the season. Can I give West Ham 200 million? They were saying.
Oh yeah, there was people trying to raise money to give him even more for him, weren't they? Fucking Arsenal fans, honestly.
They had a GoFundMe, and then to see that if they can give West Ham more money, and then when you look at the numbers.
Right. Speaking of Muppet Arsenal fans, did you see that someone had done a combined 11 of like the 2016 or 17 Real Madrid team?
Yes, I see.
And Arsenal. And they moved Varane to left back to accommodate Saliba.
Yeah.
And they put Saka right wing.
That is very on brand for them. Oh yeah, and
they put Declan Rice in instead of Casemiro.
The person that did it put Saka right wing. Everyone was like, wait, Bale? I was like, no, he's better than Bale.
Oh, okay, I'm going home.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like,
I'm going home. I'm going home.
The disrespect, the absolute.
There's a conversation. I think it's wrong because I think it might be Rooney. Yeah. In terms of who's been
best
certainly of the last 2 decades, who is the best British player of the last couple of decades? I think Bale's in the top 3, but I think it's Rooney.
Bale and Rooney. Bale, Rooney, and do you know what it might go down as? I think it might go down as Bale, Rooney, and Harry Kane.
Yeah, I think once he retires, I think you're certainly going to have that conversation. He's got to pick up a trophy, though. Rooney, you've got picturing winning loads of trophies. You've got Bale winning loads of trophies. You've got Harry Kane winning golden boots for getting back heels off people and stuff.
Yeah. Nah,
doesn't really add up.
Nah, you can't have that. But what I was going to say is...
we all are Leverkusen, aren't we?
Yeah, we are all Leverkusen. But, because it would be hilarious if he's brought that kind of bottling gene over there. But the...
I swear to God. I might do a watch-along of the final game if it goes to the wire.
Because I reckon Bayern could have put in his contract saying, yeah, you've come here for 3 years. We're going to put in a... We guarantee you win a trophy. If you don't, we'll give you $1 billion. They could have been that confident. He goes there.
The guy's broke all sorts of scoring records and gonna come fucking second. You can't tell me it's not fucking hilarious because it's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
It's hilarious.
But the point I was gonna make, because I feel like you'll find it quite funny. Have you seen the point differential? Arsenal at this point of the season with Declan Rice and West Ham without Declan Rice. So West Ham have, if I can remember correctly, basically. Arsenal are much better off at this stage of the season with Declan Rice, are worse off with Declan Rice, and West Ham are better off. I think there's almost like a 20-point swing either way.
Wow.
And how can you justify him being a transformative signing, as good as some of his performances have been, if Arsenal are in a worse position now than they were last season, and West Ham are better? I think it would be unfair to just put it all on Declan Rice both ways, but that's what Arsenal fans do. If there was any evidence to the contrary, they'd be all over it. So because you've been quite. You said you agreed that it's been good. I think it has been good. Yeah. I mean, did you see the? I can't remember who sent me this. I think it might be an Adidas poster that they've made of the Liverpool attack 4v1 in Declan Rice. By the way, where's this world class Saliba in this? I watched Saliba against Fulham. Anyway, so they've made this whole poster about Declan Rice preventing Liverpool. Did they win the game? They didn't win the game. Did they win a trophy for it? No, they didn't. What the fuck am I looking at? And he also did absolutely nothing. Trent just missed. I didn't understand that. I think people have been running. If he'd have smashed him, won the ball, drove it up the pitch, like Bobby Moore against Pele, something like that, where you go, oh, yeah. No, that's not what happened. What happened is, it was a 4v1, he went from one side of the box to the other, late, and then Trent missed. And then, he put him off. Fuck off. Fuck off. And then they've also, just this week, complained and bitched again to PJ Morel about Saka and his treatment. I told you this yesterday and you couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I don't think Saka gets fouled any more than most players that are forwards. There's a lot of forwards get the shit kicked out.
And he's acting as if he's the first player that's a winger that gets fouled quite a lot. You get this. So you've got Zaha got it. Greeley, I think it got to Zaha in the end, because I think the last year and a bit that I was at Palace, he was a proper hothead, isn't he? Every time he got fouled, he was trying to fight people. He felt like,
I think that just had enough.
Yeah, just had enough. Grealish had it. Ayew's been fouled apparently like 20 times more than him.
I wonder if I could find who's the most fouled player in the league, actually.
It is. They said Jordan Ayew from Palace.
There you go.
Jordan Ayew, I think Saka's third, fourth. Bruno Guimaraes is more fouled than him. And the complaint, but the thing is with Saka is his play style is...
Apparently Ryan Yates from Forest is as well.
He's up there. So his play style invites it. He's one of those where he receives it and he's like trying to feel contact. But also, what I've always noticed about Saka is how soft he is. He kind of like exasperates fouls, makes
John
them worse.
McGinn, 36. Right, I'm not having that. I'm not having that.
He sticks
this fucking horrible diving fuck. I'm not having that. He buys them. He's look at the foul that he got against us.
The thing is, McGinn's a different one though, because McGinn's similar. I think it's players that like contact, because McGinn gets the ball and the first thing he wants to do is twerk on people. The
problem with these things is it adds up how many times that a foul has been given. You see so many United players get kicked and nothing gets given, and that's the frustration. Bastards.
I don't like, because the thing is he's rarely ever been injured as well, Saka, and every time he gets touched he stays on the floor for 2 minutes. That's one of my bugbears with him. He's not like one of them players that goes down and jumps up. He makes every tackle seem as if he's been absolutely wiped out.
Yeah, I think what happened is people saw the abuse that previous players had had for missing penalties. People saw the fucking racist abuse that he got for that, and then like everyone decided, right, now you can't criticise him because he's had this thing that was bad happen to him. You no longer criticise him, and now everything he does is magical and rainbows and beautiful. And it's not been the case.
Yeah, and then
he's a good footballer that's been piped off to something new.
Yeah, and he dislocated Simicas's shoulder against Liverpool when he kind of like barged him on the sideline when the ball was already gone out of play. So
imagine Bruno Fernandes doing that.
Casemiro.
You know what I'm saying?
Casemiro as well.
Abhinav says, all these reports of Ratcliffe saying he's in it for the legacy and not profit. Does he not know Jay Marty bought $20 worth of shares?
Fuck's sake.
On that, on the Jim Ratcliffe thing, there was good quotes coming out yesterday.
Yeah.
There were good quotes. There were for starters, the fact that he went and visited Carrington.
Yeah, the Q&A kind of style.
Yeah. So I think, from what I can gather, I haven't actually done a lot of reading on this. I've only sort of seen little clips and stuff. But I believe there was a staff Q&A yesterday with like the regular people that work at the club, not the football side of stuff. And then I believe he's had a long meeting. Was it a couple of hours or an over an hour long meeting with Erik Ten Hag? And everyone's come away quite positive, quite excited, quite happy. I would say the biggest that I always say, deeds not words, right? Deeds not words. Anyway, talk is cheap, right? Show me. The fact he's actually gone to Carrington, I think puts him at 1-0 over the Glazers. Because I don't remember them. They may. Someone's going to be like, well, in like 2000 and whatever. Like, but I don't remember them ever doing
the connection matters, doesn't it? Glazers have always been very, very disconnected to Manchester United, and then people argue it's because they're more investors than owners, in a way.
Well, they weren't investors. Their fucking dad was.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But they've never. I feel like they barely ever go to the games. I've seen videos of them when they've been to like Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. I know they live in the area, but they just look
There's a different
dynamic of an attitude between the Glazers towards them and towards United. And if you look at all the clubs that have had success, there always seems to be that connect between all the different categories of the club, from the manager to the director to the fans to the owners. There seems to be this link, because even like all the criticism that you would give, we always say the last 20 years the most successful club has been Chelsea under Roman, but Roman had a very obvious love and affinity for the club and actually cared about them.
How many times did you see him pictured in the stand either smiling or looking upset or
do you hear that he
whatever?
Used to go to like under 16 games and that. He used to go to like under 40. Say he had free time on Saturday and the 14s were playing, to go watch it.
Do you know supposedly the game that made Abramovich fall in love with football, do you know what game it was? when he decided he needed a club. I don't know if this is the truth, and someone will probably tell me it's a load of old bollocks, but this is a story I heard.
When did he take over? 2000? Was it 2003?
I think it's 2003. Yeah. The time it must have done it quick because the timing of this game makes it seem almost impossible to do. But supposedly it was the Ronaldo hat trick at Old Trafford. 09, Real Madrid United.
Oh, the 09 one.
Yeah, that was the game he was at, and you're like, you motherfucker.
Let me buy a club now.
And he bought Chelsea.
And he was like, what strings can I pull to do it?
So the quote that I like the most, and again, this could be him talking the talk. Ratcliffe made clear that he would be measuring the achievements by silverware rather than revenue, and everyone should focus on that priority. I immediately went and threw away every pair of pants I own.
Why?
Because it's cocks out for Ratcliffe if that's what he's fucking, if that's what he's saying.
I was gonna say, I just wanted to hear you say it, but then I was like, that would have sounded weird me saying that. Do you know what I mean?
Like, if that's like, it's easy to say that, and if he's from the area and he knows the club, he can easily go and say that. The fact he's gone and said that, whilst sort of obviously got to play the game, he can't come out and criticise the owners. I'm sure hasn't someone even alluded to the fact that there might be a clause like that in the contract that he can't criticise the Glazers? Yeah. At least until he owns the gaff properly. I mean, 18 months and a day, I hope he gives a press conference and goes, Jesus fucking Christ.
Glad they're gone.
Yeah.
And then he basically just goes in them. I doubt he will. It'll probably show some sort of professionalism, but a lot of what we are being like promised or what's being rumoured to be happening in terms of the football inside and the kind of the areas of focus that Jim Ratcliffe's kind of talking about, it is promising because
it's the backroom stuff that excites me the most.
It is because the thing we have been the most critical about, all the financial stuff in terms of Glazers come was running the club into the ground from that instance, but have also been really incompetent on the footballing side
and on the business side. They get told they're great businessmen. The fuck they are. The only thing that do you know what? They might as well have wore a fucking mask because they're thieves in my eyes. They've not made this business better since they owned it. It's got worse. Yeah? It's got a lot worse. In the 18 years that they owned it, they were lucky that Sir Alex Ferguson decided to stick around for 8 years.
What do you think's preventing them, like, what makes them so stubborn in terms of wanting to sell even though they can get this huge payout?
I don't know.
What is it? Is it like is it ego? Is it?
I can't put myself in their position because I would want to see something succeed. If I'm involved with something, I would want it to succeed. I'm just not of the same sort of mind as them. Like they were given this. It was their dads. They were given this. Let's have it right. But if you look at the way that their family has managed all of their other businesses, they had a load of malls in America. Like, shopping malls. And all of their shopping malls were poorly maintained, lost value, businesses left them, and they all ultimately ended up failing. Doesn't that sound quite fucking familiar? They've basically run United the same way. So their business model is keep the cow alive just long enough to milk the fucker every year. Forget feeding it good food. Forget having a prize cow. Forget making this fucking cow, the envy of all the other fucking cows in the land. No. Keep it on life support, milk it. There was that, the talk that came out was that they was more interested in maintaining top four. If they get told it's going to cost us 300 million to win the league, but 200 million will get us in the Champions League, they go, oh, right, okay, nice to know. There's your 200 million. Go get Champions League. That was all they were asked about. And it's just a whole different philosophy. If Sir Jim is coming in, and like I said, deeds, not words. Right now, all he can do is words because the processes that he's putting in place will take longer. But the Glazers appointed financial guys. That's all they put in. People that had worked at banks, no banking, and supposedly were businessmen. But I think they left so much business on the table by being so bad at the thing that you're there and known for doing, which is football. We was the most profitable football club that envy and copied the world over when they took over. And now we are fucking ridiculed and behind the curve. They've not been good owners in every single fucking measurable metric. So Jim's come in and he said, fuck the profits, we're here to win trophies. And that's how a football club should exist. Because guess what happens when you win trophies? Sponsors want to be associated with you. You have prize money falling out your ass. Players want to come and play for you. You have a successful youth program. Like, everything follows the success of being good on the football pitch. So that's when you can capitalise on how successful you are. United were known for making a lot of money in the 90s because we were successful. And that continued into the 2000s because we were successful. And then it came to a crashing halt because our owners barely know how to tie the fucking shoelaces. They're shite.
And they don't... And I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. But what probably bugs me about them is the fact that you never hear anything from them.
Ever.
The
only time we heard anything was the Super League. And it was like, right, all right, we'll sell then. Maybe.
Like, they don't address anything. They don't kind of give any kind of vote of confidence to the fans. They just hide away and just let the club kind of rot, really, and just almost like...
Do you remember when that lady from Sky went and she was so composed, because I'd have ended up fucking headlocking the prick, when she chased him down the street and he just ignored her existence and just carried on about, just walked to his car, got in his car and drove off.
Then at the end, he was like, we've given money for and tried to buy signings or whatever.
You've done fuck all.
He said something like that, but isn't it, it's always been United's money that have been buying signings, not theirs. Because I'm hoping that there's eventually a complete takeover, because as promising as the footballing side being taken over by Jim, who seems to be bringing in the right people, who seems to be show like a level of care. I'm worried that the Glazers are that tone deaf, that stubborn, that even 18 months down the line, they're going to still try and hold on to that majority share.
They're not gone until they're gone.
And I'm also kind of concerned about there being eventual friction between Jim Ratcliffe and the Glazers.
Well, if he turns it around in a year, that last 6 months until they're out the door is going to be like a proper poker face. No, you just got to hope that it's in the contract that Jim goes, fuck it, we're actually turning this around. There's the money that we promised. Fuck off, and then you've got a shot. Right, we've got some super chats and some comments. I'm going to read some of those out. Have we got a sponsor for today? No? All right, cool. Jibak says, we've been treated to such incompetence for 18 years that an owner saying basic things sounds too good to be true for us. Hope he can back it up with actions. Totally agree. Ed says, rumour. He does preface it by saying rumour. Erik Dyer to Bayern agreed in principle, so it looks like the Varane rumours are going to die out shortly. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, no, it's true, that because that's what we were talking about. It's like the January transfer window is come at a time where the ownership kind of shift and is beginning to happen. So it's kind of made you unsure about whether deals can happen the right way or whether the right type of people are in place for these deals to be kind of sanctioned. But there still is, as there always is, a lot of rumours about players either staying, leaving, and players that we're looking to bring in. But also, obviously, Laurie did put out an article recently that did say United's funds from January are pretty much zero. But
we've got to sell. I think they said the investment, they can't ratify the investment for Jim Ratcliffe until the Premier League approve it.
Yeah.
But if they do approve it, then you could have spent some money in January. I wonder if they just gamble on that it will get approved because there's nothing to stop it, and then just spend some money in January and go, we'll figure it out by the end of the season. I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't know how much actual financial influx there will be from Jim Ratcliffe into transfers.
Meat Pie says, United's money is Glazed money. Until stop people going games and buying merch, they will not leave. Guess what, mate? It isn't going to happen, right? You'd be amazed at how few people are militant enough that they will boycott games, that they will boycott merchandise and do all that sort of stuff. I've just been rereading the 1999 book by Matt Dickinson, which is it's a fucking great read. It really is. But there's a whole lot on the 1999 book, which goes into the detail of the takeover which was happening at the time, because I think on the day of the Charity Shield, Sky B made an offer for Manchester United. And then they spent a couple of months negotiating with it. They ended up going like nearly double the price that the club was listed at the time. But it touches on the way the club was floated in 1991, and when fucking Michael Knight and Shayanama came and got in the mix, and Edwards nearly sold to him. He nearly sold to Robert Maxwell, who was by all accounts a little bit of a dodgy character, and then he tried to sell it to Murdoch, and Murdoch. I was too young at the time to fully understand why it was so problematic if Sky bought us. And people were talking about, well, it'll mean United are richer than any other club and then they'll be able to spend blah, 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 blah. Well, but 3 years later it happened. Chelsea were bought. And then 5 years after that, City were bought. And recently just had Newcastle bought, like, all by nation states. Is that any better, or is it actually far worse than Sky TV owning Manchester United? Like, I actually don't know if it was. Now, I wouldn't want to be associated with the fucking Sun and TalkSport and the fucking evil empire that Rupert Murdoch exists in. But was what happened with B Sky B, or what was on the cards with B Sky B, any more egregious from a sporting and financial point of view than what actually happened with Chelsea and Manchester City? I'm not sure it would have been. For Manchester United, I think you would have seen the work that Martin Edwards had done up until that point continue, because United was shit in cash at the time. This is, obviously that was the treble season, but from there, I think United actually break our structure. Roy Keane broke the structure in 99-2000 by getting 50k a week, I think up from about 17 grand a week like he was on at the time, which was peanuts compared to what a lot of the Premier League was earning. And I think, we was constantly linked with Marcelo Salas, R9, Batistuta, Del Piero. We were never signing those players. Now you see those players linked with United, actually, there's a chance that they come to the Premier League. Late 90s, that didn't happen. And it didn't happen because United had the PLC and the structure in place. Now, I wonder if Sky had bought us, would that have all changed?
Especially when you think about the names over the past 10 years that have actually wore a United shirt.
Yeah.
Right, like whether it's worked or not, like Cavani, Di Maria, Falcao, Ibrahimovic. These are some of the top players of the last 10 years from that kind of ilk that have actually wore a United shirt. And none of them actually been that much of a long-term success. No. I think Ibra
was a bit of an enigma, wasn't he? We should have signed him at 28. What a player that would have been. Yeah. Super chat here from Darren Cox says, what the club needs is Ryan Giggs on the coaching staff. Put some speakers out at training, play some Happy Mondays, Blue Order, New Order, to get the attacking in the right vibe. Steve McLaren can hand out the eckies. Manny says, judge Sir Jim's team based on how they sell players more than how they buy. Reading the Athletic that United was 6 months late in offering players to Saudi. Of course they were. Literally,
you saying like the way Saudi were moving, you were like, yeah, this is for our financial fair play situation and our desperate need to sell players in Deadwood. The amount of players at United that you could be just like,
all of them.
You could just be like, have them, and you'll get a bit of extra cash for it.
Looking at some of the money that Saudi spent and give those players, that was the place for us to sell.
And it seems now.
Sorry, there was a point I was making. I wasn't just waffling about the B Sky B takeover for nothing. So at the time of those protests, Emusa, Andy Walsh, the Shareholders United thing, they were trying to get fans to protest at the sale. And there was people being interviewed outside Old Trafford, and the average fan didn't really give a fuck. The average fan was like, well, you're going to give us the money to buy fucking Batistuta. Sound. And you get a lot of that. Now, you got a lot of that with the Qatar rumours. A lot of people just went, well, you're going to sign us loads of players. Well, fucking who gives a fuck? Not every single fan is a militant ideologist that wants... Like, I want certain things for United. I want us to be fan-owned, and I want us to stay true to the roots of what Manchester United are. But not every fan thinks like that, and not every fan wants that. And it was. I thought it was really interesting that when United were floated in 1991, the money that we went for, the money that we went for wasn't a lot. Michael Knighton could have bought Manchester United for £10 million, right? Think about that. By the end of that decade, by the middle of that decade, players were going for more than £10 million. Players. And you could have bought Manchester United at the start of the 90s for £10 million. how few fans would you have needed if someone had organised the fans in 1991 and said, lads, we can buy the fucking club, and you never would have needed to put any money in because the club was commercially viable. You could have kept Martin Edwards as the chairman, and you could have bought the club for, I mean, it was going at like £2 a share. So what's fucking £2 over 10 million? It's I guess it's 5 million in it. So 5 million United fans, of which I'm sure there is, because 660 million is not a real number. But there's definitely 5 million United fans. You could have all had a share each at £2.
How does that work though? Between 5 people, that kind of fan joint ownership, like
the same way it works at Barcelona and Real Madrid. You have elections and you have votes. So you can vote your chairman in and out and this, that and the other. But ultimately United we would never have had the Glazers. So at the time we were floated, no one could have foreseen the Sky and the Glazer ownership coming. You couldn't have done. But if someone had the foresight to go, actually, because there was about 28,000 independent shareholders of Manchester United, like loads of people actually, like everyone had a couple of shares, literally like a tenner's worth of shares. If you'd have bought a tenner's worth of shares, you could have done it with like 1.5 million people. You could have 1.5 million people then could have owned Manchester United. It was so little that you probably could have like doubled the membership price and gone, there you go, whatever the members are now, that's the members of the club. And then you would have never had the Glazer situation. But there weren't people aware enough at the time. Now, when the B Sky B takeover was blocked by the Monopolies and Mergers Commission, people were encouraged to go and buy United shares to stop that happening. And if we'd have got to like 40%, if the supporters would have owned 40% of the club at that time, we could have prevented the Glazers from happening. But nobody listened. Like the majority of the fan base just wants to go and then fucking go home. People don't want to spend all day getting fucking militant about their football club. You know, some people do, but a lot of people don't.
But right now, it feels like something like that happening is borderline impossible.
It is now. I think it's impossible now.
Yeah,
when the club's valued at 5 to 8 billion.
Yeah.
Nah, it ain't happening now.
Nah, it's not happening now. Who was it that was also linked with possibly trying to bid for United? Was he the Icelandic guy?
Yeah, but was he real? He was about as real as the fucking knight in shining armour, wasn't he?
was he Finnish?
The money
Icelandic?
is pledged.
The money is pledged.
Where's the money, fuckface?
He just came out of nowhere and everyone was like, wait, who's this guy? And do you reckon he did it for a laugh? Or to like kind of put his name out there?
The guy that claims he saw aliens? No idea why he would have done it. Seems like a totally put together individual.
What's wrong with that claim?
He also claims that he didn't make himself manager of Carlisle.
Who's that?
Don't know.
You don't know?
It's a fictional character.
Fictional. Don't exist.
Ray Merrill says, Giggs is patient zero to me. Colin Moyes, Everton. Behind his back. We went from never questioning the manager to the most senior player giving the green light to attacking the boss. I guess that's true, yeah.
So you started that culture then?
Maybe.
He set the precedent.
Yeah, maybe. But I think also, you know, just rolling back to that book, like, United was a tough school. Steve McLaren, when he came in, was hammered by the players. Just hammered because he was new. They had to test him, see what it was about. You know, that was what United was. It was a fucking bully environment. But it was... Think how good you have to be to play for United. Every single week as a cup final, you're expected to perform 10 out of 10. And if you're not, you're not just called, oh, he's not good enough for United. You're called shit. Like, aren't you? Like, if you're not good for United, you're shit. Realistically, you're still in the top 0.1% of all footballers. No, you're shit.
That is actually funny, though, because my mate said this to me, actually. I had a bit of a weekend the other day with Ronaldo. He plays in Turkey in the Superliga. And he was talking to me about what players like him, professional players, think when fans are online who aren't nowhere near professional footballers, calling professional footballers shit. And he was like, so they have it in there where they wouldn't call, I don't know if it's like a professional brotherhood thing, but they wouldn't call other players shit.
No.
Because they have an understanding of what it takes to be at that level and what it's like to be there. And
you don't know someone who knows someone who knows that someone that is as good as like a Premier League player.
So he was saying it to me and he was like, that's why he laughs at Twitter and that sometimes, because like, they'll say, oh, this player's shit. And he's like, is he really though? And then I said to him what you said. I said, fans call players shit in relation to where they're playing. So I mean, so it's like they're at Premier League, they're playing for United, so they're being judged by that standard. We're not saying they're shit at football in comparison to the guy down the road, so that's why they made it. We're saying that they're shit in comparison to what's required to be a good Manchester United player in our eyes. That's what I'm trying to explain to him.
Yeah, of course, right. So I would call Dan James a shit Manchester United player. The first game I saw him in Australia, I went, he's not very good. Like, there was just Dan James. I was looking at him and I went, it was a friendly against Leeds, I think. And I was like, nah, not having him. No, I don't think he's good. And then when I saw him, what did he have? He was quick, right? If he came and trained for Paddock, he would look like Messi. Yeah. I'm certain. His touch would be immaculate.
I've been, for example, he plays for Wales. My mate plays for Wales. He says Dan James is good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like... But from
playing for United and playing in the Championship, I got a lot of respect for Championship. I think it's a great league, but I don't think Dan James should play for United.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I don't think Elanga. I don't think was good enough to play for United. I guarantee if he came to Paddock training, we'd all have our hands on our head, because we'd be like, holy shit, he's so good. Look at Isaac, right? Isaac literally plays National League, right at the moment, National League. He's played with us, so we've seen how good he is, and he's levelled it up recently. And when he comes and trains with us now, the fucking sharpness of him, you just go, wow.
Yeah.
He's what, 2 or 3 levels above what we do in training regularly. Yeah. And he plays National League.
This is a guy that has played. He's played in League One and stuff like for Peterborough and etc. So,
but it shows if he played for United, you'd got nice shit.
Yeah, exactly. If he plays for United,
do I think Isaac's good enough to play for United? No, I don't. But
that's the difference.
And that's the standard that we're trying to hit with it.
Do you think that swallows up a lot of these players? For example, we're looking at Martial, we're looking at Sancho. Sancho quite obviously has ability, but then it's like, is he good enough for United?
I genuinely think he is. I think he doesn't have the mentality to play for United. I think skills-wise, he's shown us at Dortmund that there was world-class potential there. I don't know if he's got the world-class mentality to go with it. And ultimately...
We've seen it with Ted Mengi and Taif Chong at Luton. They look pretty bright for them. Chong looked really bright when I watched him. He's another one that I didn't think was ever good enough to play for United. Mengi was fucking solid against Chelsea as well. And
Mengi I still think could play at the top level because he's a young centre-half. Chong I don't think had the ability to beat someone. The array of skills that you need to beat someone to play for United. There's...
Because we're talking about stuff like that. Obviously, I did go to Kenilworth Road last week. Did the whole historic walking through almost someone's back garden to get to the main stand entrance or whatever. So I watched Luton versus Chelsea, and I was really quite close. I was close enough to the pitch where you can get a better appreciation for which players are actually good and certain things, because it looks very different from the TV. I think every footballer always looks better when you watch them up close from a technical level.
The TV lies to you. I mean, like,
it does a bit, because
Marcus Rashford's running off the ball, you don't see on TV.
Yeah,
and you see it in person.
For example, like Nicholas Jackson against Luton. Before I watched him, I thought he's untechnical. He's quite stiff. He's shit. He looked pretty sick, to be honest. Like when I watched, and I'm like, but when I go watch him on TV, and he's not. But it's just that kind of thing of our players. We kind of understate how good these players are because of like the quality of that they need to be playing at. Even the Luton players, Luton look really good, but I'm kind of thinking, I also think United will struggle to get a result there, by the way. The
intensity. We ain't got that in us at the minute.
I think playing a Luton away with this current United team is our worst nightmare.
Once Manchester United name gets put on that scoreboard there,
the fans.
I guarantee when Luton got promoted, like I know Pete, my mate Pete's a Luton fan, right? Yeah. I know when they got promoted, he went, I can't wait for United to come, and they would have been. City would have got it as champions. They would probably been Arsenal, because I think there's a Luton Arsenal, like they're quite close geographically, aren't they? So I would have said like Liverpool, United, City, Arsenal. Those would have been the games that Luton fans, when that Premier League fixture list went, when are they here? When are they at the Kenny? Like, and they would have fucking circled them in their calendar. Yeah, and United is absolutely one of their...
Do you think it's no coincidence that they've done really well against the big sides at home? Is it just
I imagine the changing rooms are dog shit. I imagine like that walk past people's houses, wigs everyone out
They're
a
all
little
energised.
bit. Yeah, and I think though the crowd it's new in it's for the crowd.
You see where they wait Team Park and their big coaches?
Nah.
It's just on like a
street.
On like a street, just on a street.
That's brilliant.
It feels authentic, do you know what I mean?
I think that's so much better than driving out to an industrial estate with a new built 2000 and Summit Stadium that looks like the Emirates and the Etihad. They're the fucking same stadium, man. Like, do you know what I mean? One's got blue seats, one's got red. It's the fucking same. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no character about it. Kenilworth Road has got character. Like, you got to go and ask Mrs. Merton for your fucking ball back when you need to go and take a fucking throw in. It's mental. But that's what you need.
That's literally what it is. It's literally just the end of like a normal industrial street, and then it's literally just the stadium, and it just feels like it's immersed into the culture, of Luton. When I walked to the stadium, like, it was just a different vibe from when you go into like somewhere like Old Trafford. But maybe it's just because it's like lower down. The stands are quite like compact. Everyone's almost on top of each other. I can see why teams struggle there.
Well, it was the same as the Britannia, wasn't it? Stoke was famously Stoke on a Monday night or whatever fucking night it was.
To go and play. The gimmick. Can he do it on a cold Wednesday
even fucking
night?
Stoke couldn't fucking do it on most of them Stoke nights. But sometimes you get a stadium that's that, and the fan base can have a thing. I mean, I think we've spoken about this, haven't we? The English football fans are fucking shite. Like when you.
That's another thing that my mates that play abroad say.
Oh,
is that the comparison?
Especially in Turkey.
Yeah.
Turkey might be a little bit fucking unhinged in every sense of that word.
A couple of things have happened recently there, innit? My mate was involved in that game where he's 75 minutes. They didn't get a penalty decision that they wanted, so the owner came down from the stands and came onto the pitch and cancelled the game. Not cancelled the game. He basically said, "We're not playing." And he basically took the players off.
Mint.
He gave them all a little dosh each to apologise though, but. It was fucking hilarious, and then before that, the referee got punched in the face.
That was when we ended up on the floor, wasn't it?
Yeah, face, black eye. It is Turkey's an interest. I
think there's a line, and they're on the other side of the line.
Yeah, they're on the other side of the line. Yeah,
but like Eastern Europe on the whole. So there was when I went to CSK Sofia, they played Ludogorets. CSK Sofia. It's in a stadium that is 2,000 years old, I think, and it's not, but it looks it. And like they give you a newspaper. They're giving out newspapers to you on the way in. And I was like, well, I don't read Bulgarian, so no, thank you. The newspaper's not to read. The newspaper's so you don't get marked off the seat that you sit on, because the seats have been degraded in the sun that much that as you sit on them, all this white residue chalk shit comes off you on your fucking jeans. So bit of local knowledge. If you're ever at the Siska Stadium, take a newspaper, because you're sitting on it, so your shit don't get marked up. But anyway, so there was more riot police than fans. There's a running track around the stadium, and there's a 8-foot fence at the bottom of the stand I was in, which was the VIP stand. Sector G, where the guy goes, "Don't go in there, you won't come out alive." All right, no problem. Sector G, which was all the mad bastards down at one end, they were all like properly locked in. I was in the £2 VIP part, which was like supposedly quite
luxurious.
What's the word? Civilized.
Yeah.
Well, there was a clear offside not given, and about 10% of my stand decided to start climbing over the fence to try and get the linesman. They got the fuck knocked out of them by the riot police, and then the riot police came into the stand I was in and just cleaned out the bottom 6 rows just to be like, don't fuck about. And I didn't film it because I was shitting it. Because I'm like, do I want to be the guy filming the police as they're filling people in? Because that's just hey, come and hit me.
They just started filling in the bottom 6 rows as we're doing this so that everyone else knows not to fuck with us, basically.
I think so. Literally, as they're walking out, so the riot shield police are covering the players as they're walking out, and they covered them as they were coming back in as well. Because people just started unloading things onto the pitch and onto the players.
Just because of throwing?
Just because it was within throwing distance. One of the maddest atmospheres I've ever witnessed in my life. And I'm vlogging it on my GoPro. And so it's in the middle of a forest. So it's in Sofia, but the stadium is in the middle of a forest, which was fine getting there, but it gets dark, doesn't it? Ain't no light on the way out of that forest. It's like having a stadium in the centre of Heaton Park. And I'm talking, the guy turns around in front of me and he goes, "Oh, you're English." And I was like, right, this could go 2 ways. That's either a positive or let's fucking hostel him.
Oh, you're English. I've got a boot in my car that looks really cozy.
Right, and he goes, what hotel you staying at? And I went, I got a decision to make here. Do I tell him what hotel I'm staying at? That could be dodgy. I'm thinking, could I get robbed? Could I just get fucking chopped up? And I went, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what it was called. And he went, oh, I work there. And I went, how convenient. I'll give you a lift back. And I'm like, right, this is where I get robbed. Because you don't want to be seen to be like, yeah, go fuck yourself. I'm clearly on my own.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I get a lift back? And I went, okay. And then I got a lift back off him and it was fine. But that was a sketchy moment. I thought, what are the fucking odds? A guy.
Was it Bulgaria?
Yeah.
If it was me, I definitely wouldn't have.
I don't think it's a good idea for you to go to Bulgaria. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you.
That's. I feel like that would have went differently for me, maybe. But anyway.
Yeah, what a mad game. But Eastern Europe on the whole is a gaff that I want to go and experience when it comes to football and all the rest of it.
Travel around Europe, going to these away games are crazy, because one of the best atmospheres I've ever experienced was a second tier game in Turkey, in the second division. And I literally think a lot of those fans go to the game, and some of them I don't think they even watch it.
I think there's a lot of that. Like
it's just the
Copenhagen,
concert.
the fucking geezer at the front. There's a shirtless guy. It was cold and all. There was a shirtless guy that was just getting off his fucking rocker, going bananas. And I bet he gets home, and his missus goes, "Oh, how was the game?" And I bet he goes, "I don't fucking know."
Oh, we won, we lost, we drawn. That's probably all he says to his wife when he gets home.
Because he was just having it to the crowd.
Yeah.
Didn't watch the game.
Like basically, it's like an. Do you think, like you've got an orchestra, and then you've got the person that kind of leads it? I don't know what
conductor.
A conductor. Football stadiums actually have those, but I don't think there ever is one of those at Premier League games from what I've seen.
Do you know why? Because I can't remember what I was talking about this the other day. English people take themselves far too fucking serious.
He spammed that about 7 times.
Which one? No football. We were literally just talking about fucking football stadiums, you absolute widge. Shut up. Anyway, so I think English fans take themselves far too serious. They also hate anybody who sticks their head above the parapet.
Yeah.
So if you stand up at the front of the fucking Stretford end and go, right, we're going to sing this song, you're getting bottled and you're getting told to shut the fuck up and face your fucking front, right? No one's going to like get behind them. But yeah, you see it across Europe. Like I've seen it at the Velodrome when I went and watched Marseille. I've seen it in Spain. I've seen it in Germany. Germany especially, though you talk about German organisation, the tifos, the chanting in unison is mega. And then Eastern Europe, it's just like a bit more chaos in Eastern Europe, but everyone's having it and everyone's gone with that vibe. I think English people are a little bit too more reserved. That's why there's so much fucking cocaine and alcohol in English football, because people need that to actually loosen up and get after it a little bit, whereas across Europe, people are just happier being bells, I guess.
I feel like that'd be something good for there almost to be like almost like a docu-series to look into, because I find it interesting that maybe any time that you go anywhere abroad, the atmosphere is so different, and I don't know if it's a cultural thing, because when I did go to places like Turkey and abroad, it seems that football's so much more of a huge part of just that country as a culture, and I thought that would be the case in football, because I thought football in England, or maybe
football is a huge part of the culture in England, but the culture is also a more reserved culture, and I think that's why a lot of the hooliganism that happened in the 80s and stuff, because it's like repressed and regressed in a way, like people want to find a way to get their emotions out, and in a way, the way they did it was just going fucking battering someone, rather than like getting off your nut and having big tifos and all the rest of that sort of stuff. We are a violent fucking culture, but we are a lot reserved. This is one of the reasons why our army's so fucking good, because we're just angry.
Cool, yeah.
And I've got issues with a lot of things. Stop doing that. We don't like that. We don't like this. We don't like that. Yeah. Like, people are a lot. Like, look at Americans. We will look at what goes on in America with some of the chants are shy. Let's have it right. But like, Americans are so just comfortable being American and loud, and like the way some of the fan bases in America are, like, we'd call it a bit cringy. They're having a good time. They don't give a fuck. Yeah. Whereas what we do, we all stand in black jackets with our hands in our coat. Nice one.
Yeah, that is it. I don't know, man. I'd much rather the games abroad. I know there's a little bit of a coolness. I don't know whether because it's like top level football and it might not have like some of that same authenticity that you might get lower down the leagues. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I felt like when we played Droylsden in the summer, some of the atmosphere and the kind of the chance and the bravado from some of their fans in a game that had what.
It was a fucking glorified charity shield.
Like that.
Nearly 2,000.
Yeah, but I feel like that felt. There seems to be more aggro in the fans in that game than when I went to United and Arsenal, with you like about a year ago. I don't know whether that's just down to the levels, because I know we're kind of like talking about Premier League and we're talking about the Super League. We're talking about there's a huge footballing pyramid anyway with England and English football. I don't know whether sometimes it's lower down the leagues that you get a little bit more of that aggression and passion still, where it's just gone a little bit more upstate and a bit more pompous and cool when you get to like the Premier League level.
Yeah, I think there was a study done. It would have been 10 years ago now, where they looked at the average age of season ticket holders at the start of the Premier League and then after 20 years of the Premier League, so from 92 to like 2012, and basically the average age had gone up 20 years. In 20 years. So you're like, wait, it's just the same people. It's all of these guys that were 24 are now 44.
And
so it's basically there hasn't been a regeneration.
They've lost a little bit of the...
Yeah, because you need...
testosterone drop.
Whether or not, you're like, right, some of the best games we've had at Droylsden, or some of the funnier ones, is when there's been a load of bell-end fucking teenagers behind the goal going, "You're shit, to the goalkeeper, right?
Yeah.
You need that. Whether or not you like it, whether or not you fucking want it, you need it. Like, you need that sort of youthful exuberance. 40-odd-year-old blokes aren't doing that. You know, and they're not the ones that are ballooning behind there, bringing flares and this, that, and the other.
And even if they were like that...
bring colour and fucking energy, man.
And if they were like that 10, 15 years ago, then they're not anymore.
Yeah.
And also, it doesn't help by the financial situation where obviously it's costly now.
And that's where the Premier League has got that. The reason that the average age of the Premier League is so high is because the cost of going to the Premier League is so high. Like, you know, Jaden goes to games when me or my dad don't go. He ain't going on his own. He certainly ain't getting a season ticket on his own. You know, the cost of that, he's going on holiday rather than getting a fucking season ticket. You know, that's the reality is, like, when I was his age, I did get a season ticket. My season ticket, I mean, I know inflation and this, that, and the other, but when I was his age, I had a season ticket and I paid for it myself because it wasn't a lot. I think my season ticket was £218 or something like that for my season ticket. I'm pretty sure that it's certainly been 200 or 213, something in that ballpark anyway, around the early 2000s.
It's about 2 games now, isn't it?
Well, 4 or 5, yeah. It's like 38 quid a game, I think it is now.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, back then it would have been, it was like 10, 11 quid a game, something like that. So it's so much more manageable for us then. And this is in the 2000s. This isn't even in the 90s, where it might have even been fucking half the price of that. So, you know, yes, lower league gets it. Yes, it's still cheap enough. Like I said, I was in VIP in Bulgaria. It was £2. It was 50p to go and get.
He's in VIP in Bulgaria, and you were still a couple of rows off getting battered.
Yeah. Yeah. Good atmosphere though.
Nah, it would have been great. I feel like, would you? I don't know. Maybe you don't have the time, but I feel like, would you do if you had the opportunity of like a few games across Eastern Europe?
If I wasn't coaching Paddock, and I don't think that's going to change in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm committed to this for at least another 5 years or so. So that's not going to change in the next 5 years. And I'm busy enough with my IRL channel. I mean, I did speak about this on a podcast the other day, or on a live I did the other day. Like, I've got 20 goals for this year, which is all quite focused around IRL-based activities. Things like tactical games, that's going to take a while to go do. You know, I'll be at the Euros. There's a month out of my fucking life. I'm not doing anything else apart from being in Germany. You know, I don't think I'll get to go on United's pre-season because it'll be so soon after the Euros, so that's probably out of the question. But no, I got to take the family away. When I take away all of that, there's no time for me to go travel and do. I mean, Ash's been on at me all week. Actually, he wants to go to It's like 35 quid to fly to Milan from here, which is fucking now in the grand scheme of things. He wants to go to Milan and recreate the intro of Football Italia from the 90s. It's like, let's fucking go. Which I'm not necessarily against, but it needs organising. I haven't got the time to do it, but I absolutely would love... Like, my philosophy on this is, I don't want to live and die in one place. There's so much of the world I want to see. I want to go and watch a lot of African football because African football fascinates me. Like, I don't know the culture, I don't know the teams, and I don't think I'm a football analyst, pundit, YouTuber if I'm only experiencing football in one place, Europe, or even more specifically, fucking.
I know you definitely wanted to do South America as well.
Yeah,
it's always been a big one for you.
I want to do Argentina in a big way. Yeah. Argentina's all about fucking football, steaks, and lager, mate. How can I not want to go there? After
going to Qatar World Cup, I definitely want to do Argentina.
I think we're going for a different reason, but I don't. Yeah. I completely understand your reasoning.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I don't disagree with you. But yeah, I want to do that. But like, I've seen footage of the fans, and not even seen footage of the matches, but I've seen footage. I mean, it's a good time to talk about it because AFCON's like about to kick off, which still doesn't have a UK broadcast, which is a piss take.
Does it not?
No.
When it used to be on Eurosport, I used to love watching the African Cup of Nations when it used to, especially the golden age where like Ivory Coast had like baller after baller after baller, but you do find out some absolute little gems and stars when you watch the AFCON.
There's always going to be someone that becomes a new household name on the back of that. So obviously that starts soon. But like, I've seen loads of stuff. Like I've seen the Casablanca derby looks mental. Like the both sets of fans just completely fucking having it in unison. Loads of flares, loads of pyro. Looks amazing. Like in my head, Senegal just looks like a mad gaff to go and watch football. I'd love to go fucking check Senegal out. And the same with Cameroon. I don't know where AFCON is at the moment.
Go find out.
I feel like it is in Cameroon, But I want to go and fucking check all of that out. I want to see all of those places.
AFCON 2024 venue, Olympic State. It's not outright saying it, but I thought you could literally who's hosting, find out. Yeah, Ivory Coast.
Oh, it's in Ivory Coast.
Côte d'Ivoire. I wonder if Ahmad's not going, is he?
I don't know.
Because Premier League did a list of players that might be missing during the January because of the Asian Cup and the AFCON, and I saw Ahmad on it. But if they just guessed that it might have been Ahmad, but I reckon hopefully we can do a Pep Guardiola and say he's injured when he's not, and then he stays.
Dub says Steve go Jamaica and watch Portmore or Seba.
I've watched Jamaican Premier League games before.
What level?
I think it's Premier League level.
No, I mean, what level do you reckon it is?
I reckon Jamaican Premier League, from what I've seen, is about equivalent to non-league.
Northern Prem?
Probably around Northern League Prem. Yeah.
Like Rami level on that?
Yeah, I'd say it's around that level. Probably a little bit more athletic, but around that level, yeah.
I can imagine it's quick.
Yeah, it's quick.
What's Jamaica known for? Fucking beaches and sprinters.
The funniest parts about going to Jamaican games, though, Premier League games, are the stuff that comes out from the crowd.
Oh God, yeah. Do you know what? Put that on the fucking list.
Fucking hilarious. Listen, you will not go to a Jamaican Premier League game, and leave there without pissing yourself. It's hilarious.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
That's got to go on the fucking list as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's there's all this. Like, I woke up this morning and Joe, I don't know if it's still in my fucking. I've googled something since, so let me just hit back a couple times and see if it comes up. It may not come up. I've ordered something off Etsy and it's not here, so Etsy is my last thing that I've been on. But nah, I haven't got it. I fucking woke up this morning thinking, could I go and spend a week as a ranch hand in Montana? That was legitimately the first thing that I googled this morning, and the answer is yes, you can. There's vacations where you can go and like help them with lambing and carving and riding around. And then I was like, I can't ride a horse. That's probably a bit of a.
All this stuff's gonna be like your second act in life.
Yeah.
When you get a free spare time.
Yep, just get me the fuck out of here. There's too much of the world to just fucking sit in East Manchester or in Northern Quarter for all of it. That's why I like fucking getting about the place. If I don't hit like 2 or 3 countries a year minimum, like I really feel like I'm fucking wasting my time.
Yeah, exactly. The things that you can experience. I feel like I've travelled more in the past 18 months than I had in the previous 24 years of my life, if I'm being honest. Didn't travel too much. Went to Jamaica like every few years. Been to Jamaica like 4 or 5 times. But outside of that, I never really travelled much. I went to France. I've only been to France once, and that was with Liverpool. I was an academy player. Been to Spain a couple of times. Ibiza, Barcelona. But other than that, I didn't really go anywhere else. But then obviously now I've been to America, went to Qatar, went to Turkey, went to Dubai.
I love the changing.
Do you know what I mean?
Changing tone in your voice.
Because
basically, my travelling was like, obviously I grew up in the 80s and 90s. So my parents' idea of travelling with me was the fucking package Mediterranean holidays. We did like, Mallorca, Ibiza, all of those lot in the 90s. I went to Paris with Salford Rugby because PSG had a rugby league team in the 90s. And we went and watched Salford play it. A little stadium. It only held a couple of thousand, and it was about 300 in it for the match. We watched Salford play PSG in Paris, which was a really good trip. I'd been to Germany because my uncle was in the army, so we went over and spent like a summer holiday with him in Germany. That was pretty cool. But like nowhere outside of Europe, and then obviously I joined the army. That gets a lot of travel. You get some fucking travelling done with the army. Most of my travelling is more recently. Obviously, went to America with Janine for our honeymoon.
You've been to Australia, haven't you?
Yeah, done Australia, Singapore, done a little bit of like North Africa.
I think it's just South America that's really left continent-wise.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, I mean, I have done Africa, but I think people just lump Africa in as this one gaff, but it's fucking enormous. Like,
I think what you're saying is you want to do Western Africa, kind of.
East and West, like East and Ethiopia West fascinates me. Like, there's so much. Here's the thing, right? I think African history has been buried or not exposed enough to like European and Western culture. Like, I follow Arkela, who's like such a fucking student of life. Like, I think he's fascinating. Arkela,
yeah.
And he brings up all sorts of shit, and I go, I want to go there. I want to go and see some of the stuff, some of the historical shit. Like, you've got the Colosseum and the pyramids, and I guess the pyramids is African actually, but you've got the Colosseum, and you've got all of the parts of like, there's Greece and Italy and loads of like very historical places in Europe. Africa's got the same. They're just not as publicised, so people don't know about them, but I still want to go fucking see that shit. And there's so much of it across Africa that, and the place is so unfathomably fucking big. I don't just want to go and do the typical fucking white dude in Africa thing, which is like go on a safari. Or, looked at lions and giraffes. Sweet. No, I don't want to do that. I want to go and do some. I want to go see the place. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Western Africa, Eritrea. When you said Ethiopia, it was like thinking Eritrea. I definitely would want to go to Eritrea. For similar reasons why I want to go to Argentina. No, I'm joking. But it's like that. It is great. But I want to experience, because I want to go to South America. I want to go to places like, I'm not been to Australia, Japan. I think that's one of the things that if you can do in life is Japan experience everywhere.
Japan, because why Japan? Well, it's like a completely fucking different culture. In loads of different senses, and China as well.
And it's they're quite insular in it in terms of they're, like how the majority of the world's westernized. They're just the complete opposite.
No, but is it, or is it that's just the places that we've chosen to travel to?
I mean, in terms of like, from what you hear, like they don't use Google. They're not as exposed to our part of the world, so I guess it can almost feel more different when you go in terms of an experience. It's because of the influence that America and England has on a lot of the world.
Yeah, a hell of a lot
of the world. I feel like that part of the world is the least influenced by it. Yeah, and that's why
parts of like Eastern Russia, that ain't like nowhere else on earth. Parts of China that just, I mean, there's cities in China bigger than Los Angeles that you've never even heard of. you don't even know the name of. And there's dozens of those cities. There might even be fucking tens of those cities like that you just have no fucking clue that exists, and it's bigger than Los Angeles. Like, there's the places that you want to go and check out and see what they're all about. I mean, we only all heard of Wuhan 3 years ago because of the spicy fucking cough.
That's... the spicy cough.
Isn't it?
No, it is true. It is true. But I was also laughing. Jay says, as a black man, do not go to Japan.
Well, I've kind of experienced this a little bit when we was in Singapore. So black people and tall people just get stopped for a photo.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, look what I saw today. That's a mad thing as a
I reckon
a European
if I go to,
British man.
If I go to Japan, I reckon I get asked for a few pics, and they go home and say, look who I got a pic with, and they'll be like, who's that? And I'll be like, I don't know, I think he's a rapper. Nah. Like, I don't know, I think he's a rapper.
Rampage Jackson, MMA fighter, has got some fucking really funny stories about being a black guy in Japan. But also, he's enormous. Yeah. So I think he got stopped for both reasons.
He's like huge. It's almost like the zoophilia there. It's crazy. But I'd always like Tokyo is always one of them where it looks like an interesting destination to go to.
Not just Tokyo though. There's again, Japan has got. Have you seen that? There's a hotel in Japan which I think is over 1,000 years old, and it's all made of wood.
Oh, so there's no fire exits then?
Well, I think they've kept it pretty fucking... I mean, it's also, I think, extremely expensive to go there. But it's like been kept in the same family. It's like 4 or 5 generations of one family have kept it going for probably more than 4 or 5. Maybe it's like 4.
Man said some attack you.
What? Holy shit.
I don't know about that. You know what I mean? How tall are you? Because I think, not to be disrespectful, I think the average height in somewhere like Tokyo and Japan is
5'7", 5'6".
Quite low, innit? So like, I don't know whether if you go there as like a 5'11", 5ish, you're gonna get attacked. But I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But these are things you don't know unless you go and try and experience.
This is why you have to go and travel the world. Like, you can't just fucking sit in one gaff. Like, I don't understand like all the people who just got a fucking Benidorm all the time. You're literally Blackpool with better weather. What are you doing? Like, we're going to Spain. You're not really. You're going to some weird fucking like Brexit colony in Spain. It's weird. What are you doing? For some reason there's an Irish bar, or there's fucking Dave's Fish and Chips Cafe.
You know about
Benidorm, man. Yeah. Just fucking turn it in. What are you doing? Like,
and it's the same with Ibiza. Ibiza is strange, because it's such the place. San Antonio, it's like obviously party island from all over the world. But when you stay in Ibiza Rocks, which is one of the main places that you can stay in Ibiza, you can literally walk outside and there's kids walking by from school.
Well, yeah, you don't think it's the place that you're getting off your fucking rocker.
Yeah,
but it's
actually
it was like a hippie kind of place.
Yes, but it's in somewhere that's like around people's just local lives, and I think they've had to get used to living around tourists constantly and people that are on drugs.
That says if you're 6 foot and black, it's a long day for you. But yeah, like, there's other reasons. Like, I want to go to Japan. So my great granddad was a prisoner of war, kept in Japan, forced to work in a mine for the Mitsubishi factory.
Yeah.
Think about that. It's like Mitsubishi feels like quite a modern kind of thingy, but during World War II, my fucking granddad was nearly killed trying to fucking, essentially forced labour to work there in the gaff. And that was in Osaka. So there's reasons I want to go visit a ton of different places, but that's one of them. He also visited Singapore on his way back as well, which was a bit mad.
Yeah.
Singapore's a strange place. It's an interesting place, spendy place, but yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah, too much of the world to see just to sit about bobbing between fucking Droylsden and Benidorm.
Yeah, Brian Casey says Japan would have some serious military history too. I'm sure you know about
that. But yeah, everywhere is like that. You just don't notice it when you're on holiday. Everywhere's like what?
He's had a few, remember?
That's true.
Yeah.
Whisper Night says, I rented a car and drove around Ibiza. Once you get out of the main towns, it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. Yeah, like it was a hippie commune, Ibiza. I'm sure that was like one of the founding sort of things.
That's what I noticed. Like, you go to like a local KFC in Ibiza, just down the road from the Ibiza Rocks that you're staying in, and you're just around, there's actual like locals in there just with you. because it feels almost like somewhere that would just be a tourist place only, that's almost like encapsulated as an area, but it's not. When you actually look into it and you walk around, it feels like a very genuine, authentic kind of like village kind of area, some of it. And you've got like local kids that are in there around sniffers and that are getting on it. And they're used to it. And it's almost like they're used to seeing like
probably people in pretty fucking rough states.
Yeah.
Iron Upper's the same. You have the centre of Iron Upper, you have the square, which is chaos. But you drive 10, 15 minutes out and it gets rural rapid.
Very rural. Yeah. That's what it felt. It felt very rural in Ibiza.
Anyways, take it easy. Go book a holiday. Go and book some travel. Don't go Benidorm. Get a grip. Court says, I want to go Hawaii at some point. I don't know if I'd go Hawaii, but I do want to check out the Pacific Islands, like Fiji and that. I serve with a lot of Fijians. Basically, what I've seen of Fiji looks like fucking paradise.
Yep.
But yeah, so go fucking travel. Stop fucking about. And Marbella. Yeah, Marbella is just more upmarket Benidorm. It's Benidorm with rented Ferraris.
Yeah, I think Ibiza's better. The Marbella. Ibiza's top. Ibiza's also
go fucking Marbella, get touched up by fucking Wayne Lineker.
Ibiza's also one of them places.
Fucking pass, thank you.
The difference between Ibiza is somewhere where you can go to whether you're 19 or 31.
You can have different holidays in Ibiza.
Yeah, you can still enjoy it the same way. Whereas I think Marbella is a bit like between the ages of 21 to 28.
Turkey teeth all over the gaff. Just fucking turn it in. Anyway, see you in a bit. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.